America, thank you very much for the time, for the Voice of America, the Persian service. First question, as a historian, what do you think when you hear death to America and death to Israel coming from Iran?
Well, as a historian, I think that dictatorships and extremist movements often mean exactly what they say. And so I think death to America probably means death to America. And I take very seriously when you have a parliament which, after the signing of the agreement, passes an expanded military budget for the Revolutionary Guard while chanting death to America. They're telling you that on their side, at least, they think they're at war.
As a Speaker of the House, you know ins and outs of the legislative and how the bill becomes a law. So what's your suggestion or recommendation for the current Congress to do when the President decertified the JCPOA and also sanctioned the IRGC?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think sanctioning the IRGC was a really important step in the right direction, and I'm really delighted that Treasury now is going to be really squeezing down on the Revolutionary Guard. I think that's really encouraging. Let me say that I think that the Congress should first of all hold hearings to establish for the country a base of information about the nature of the dictatorship, the things it's doing in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen, so people understand that there's a really factual reason that we are as concerned as we are. I hope that they will adopt a proposed modification of the agreement, both to insist on inspection of military bases and to eliminate the sunset clause. I mean, our goal here is to prevent Iran from ever getting nuclear weapons, not to have some magic date when they get to acquire them. And I think our goal has to be to not play games and have them say, well, you can look anywhere that we don't have nuclear weapons, but you can't look where we have them, which is what they're doing right now. They're saying, you can't come on any of the military facilities. Well, that tells me they almost certainly are doing stuff on the military facilities that can't be inspected.
JCPOA was signed with other parties. Some of them are U.S. allies, the EU3. And after the JCPOA, they started going to reap all those windfalls that Iran has from this JCPOA. They made deals, billions of dollars. Do you think they would come on board with reconfiguring the JCPOA? And on the other side, how about the Russia and the Chinese?
Well, I think that we can, you know, President Trump has made clear that if people don't want to renegotiate, he can just pull out. So the question has to be in part for the European allies, you know, do they want to find a modified agreement that the Americans stay in, or would they rather have the Americans withdraw totally? But I don't think that they can force us to accept what we believe was a very flawed agreement.
But it has the backing of the United Nations Security Council 2231. How would that work out if the U.S. decides to unilaterally pull out?
I don't think it would be enforceable against us. No. I mean, I think at that point we could impose sanctions and do a variety of things, and I don't think that, since we have a veto power, I don't think the Security Council could act against us.
You were a keynote speaker today at the OIAC, an opposition group. What role should they play now that the President has outlined its macro strategy towards Iran?
Well, I think that they have two really great potential to bring information. They have a very wide network in Iran, and they have an ability, I think, to bring information to the news media and information to the government that helps us have a much better grip on what's actually happening in Iran. I also think that as time goes on, as the Iranian dictatorship can't solve its problems, that the opposition groups are going to gain more and more strength because the dictatorship has no positive future for the average Iranian.
President Trump, when he sanctioned the IRGC, it was its entirety. Part of it is the Basij, which is the local force within Iran. What's your recommendation for the Iranian population to act against that arm, domestic arm of the IRGC?
Well, look, I think in the short run, the best thing people can do is get information to the West. because I don't think that the Revolutionary Guard is weak enough right now for citizens to take them head on without being slaughtered. And you don't want to recreate the 1988 massacres, which is what I think would happen. But I do think, to the degree that people who are dissidents can get us information about various aspects of the regime, it enables us to target more effectively sanctions and other activities to weaken the dictatorship.
Trump administration, ever since coming to power, it had a very strict stance against the Islamic Republic. Do you think with this administration we will see a regime change in Iran?
I think that we would like to have the dictatorship defeated. I think that we're not likely to take military action, but I think we're likely to take economic and diplomatic and potentially an information campaign designed to maximize the instability of the dictatorship.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Good to be with you.